Hi everyone, it's Tasha. Welcome back to my channel. On this channel, I usually show you how I'm styling thrifted pieces, but today I'm going to be showing you a small spaces room makeover. But let's start with a question. What do you call this room? It just has a toilet in it, no sink or anything. Do you call this a toilet room or a water closet or something else? Let me know. In any case, we have a room like this right off of our master bathroom, and it's just the toilet. Like I said, no sink. Ours was very boring. As you can see, it's just a white small rectangular room. Now we have installed a brand new toilet, which is something that we needed to do. And also my husband has just finished with the flooring, which he is putting in throughout some more of the upstairs as well. But this room has no character and definitely does not reflect the character that I'm trying to impart into the rest of our home. It's also the only room in the house that still has the popcorn ceiling hanging on from when the house was built in 1989, so I definitely need to get rid of that. And that's the first place that I'm going to start with this makeover, is getting rid of that popcorn ceiling. I definitely don't want it raining down on top of anything new that I'm doing. To get rid of popcorn ceiling in a small space like this, you just need a water bottle with some warm water, even cold water will do though really, and a flat edge scraper like this one. Spray it down, wait just maybe 10 to 15 seconds, if that. It becomes really pliable and you can scrape it right off. Okay, so I have now finished, for the most part, scraping off that popcorn ceiling. So this is what we're looking at now. I do need to get up there, and there's just a couple more spots with a little bit that I couldn't see before. I'll just go with some sandpaper and kind of get those spots really quick, smooth everything out the best I can, and then give it a couple of coats of white paint. I'm also gonna get all of the dust that has settled on that light off first because I didn't clean after myself. And also I'm gonna try and replace this old vent cover. Then I'm going to ask my husband very nicely to take this old light down and put up a new one that I have, which I think is a little bit bigger than this one, so it'll be fine if I just paint around this one. The other one will still cover it, and then the ceiling will be done, and we can move on to the paneling and the wallpaper. So after touching up the ceiling, I'm just going in with 2 coats of white paint to smooth that out and give it a fresh look up there. And then the next thing that I'm doing is removing that older vent hood and taking my handheld vacuum and just giving that a little bit of a clean before I put on this new grate, which as you can see has a much more modern look and isn't as clunky and odd looking. Then I can turn my attention to my wainscoting paneling, which I'm so excited about. I'm just putting in this little beadboard paneling along the bottom half of the room. These panels are pretty lightweight, they're very easy to cut. You just need to get the right measurement and then cut them the right size and apply them with some liquid nails and maybe a couple of nails in the studs as well. I honestly don't really know how much liquid nails you're supposed to use, but this is how much I use, and of course I'm just going down the wall in pretty little zigzags, but I can tell you that this amount worked for me. I'm just placing those panels in place after I've gone ahead and got them cut. I cut them one by one so that I could get an exact measurement each time I went around a wall, and then I'm just kind of putting a little bit of painter's tape to make sure they stay while they dry. For this small room, putting up the paneling only took me about an hour or so, and later on my husband was kind enough to change out the light for me for a new one that I selected. I'm also going to be filling in some seams that are left behind when I installed my paneling, and I'm just using some shrink-free spackling for that I already had on hand rather than caulk, just because I already had this for filling in some nail holes around the trim and the baseboard, and this stuff works perfectly fine, although it does take a little bit longer because I'm just doing it with my finger, but there's only a few of these seams, so I'm just using what I have here. Now I'm turning my attention to cleaning up the walls because I'm ready to put in my wallpaper, and so I'm just going back and making sure that any previous nail holes that I had are sanded completely smooth so that there's no bumps or protrusions underneath my wallpaper. I'm also going to take off my outlet cover and make sure that I'm ready to go. Okay, so I have my outlet plate off. I'm going to start tackling the wallpaper next, and I am going to do some trim at the top of this wainscoting to make it look better. But I'm going to do my wallpaper first, that way I won't have to worry about getting a perfectly straight edge at the bottom of my wallpaper. I'll just put the trim over top of it. I'm going to be applying some wallpaper primer. I'm using this one right here. And I'm going to be putting that on with a roller. I'm going to go ahead and put that all over the whole area that I'm going to be wallpapering, and then give it at least 3 hours to dry. I made these little marks with painter's tape just to give me a visual guide to know exactly where the outlet edges were for when I cut around it later after I wallpapered. Now this is the wallpaper that I went with. It is this beautiful one from Wayfair. Isn't it so pretty? It's a traditional style and I think it will work well in our transitional home. Thank you to Wayfair for sponsoring this video. I love shopping at Wayfair because they have so many different selections of everything and fast and easy shipping. So as you can see, they have this one in a blue and a gray color option of this wallpaper as well, and I ended up going with the green. Okay, I have one piece up and I'm so excited. So one thing I did that I followed the tip from the pros was I used my laser level, and because your walls aren't always straight or almost never straight, I used my laser level to put a line right about here, and I started with this side. I leveled up with my level instead of my wall. And what I did here is I let it go around, wrap around into this little corner. So that was tricky. I cut it crooked down here, not gonna lie, but my trim's gonna cover that. So from now on, since I'm not doing a tiny corner wrap like that, I think that it'll go more smoothly, but otherwise it went really well. This is my very first and only time installing traditional style wallpaper that is not peel and stick, but that you have to use glue with, and I was so nervous to try it, to be honest, but it went so well. I don't think that I'm ever gonna try peel and stick again because I found this process a lot easier since you apply a good amount of glue and you can actually kind of slide the wallpaper panels around a bit versus peel and stick where you put it on, you have to peel the whole thing off if you want to reposition it. So that can be more tedious than this was, in my opinion. I'm gonna drop a link to someone's video on YouTube that I found really helpful and encouraging with directions on how to do this if you're a first timer like me. The large brush that you see me using is very important for moving that over your wallpaper after you have it installed and getting out any air bubbles. It just makes it nice and smooth, and like I said, I really enjoyed that process. Next, I'm moving back down to my wainscoting paneling and I'm just cleaning it up completely, getting any kind of grit off of it and getting ready to paint. I'm painting this in the color Accessible Beige, which we've used throughout our home in different rooms on our cabinetry in our kitchens, for instance. I really love this. It's a nice neutral. It's not too yellowy. It's not too gray. It's just the perfect color. Keep in mind if you're doing a small space like this that these colors will probably appear a little bit darker in a closed off small space, but for me, it was the perfect shade. I decided to paint the trim as well as the door for this in the same Accessible Beige color, which I'm going to carry throughout more of the master bathroom, I think, as well. And so I'm doing 2 coats of paint on the door and the trim as well as the beadboard. Once all the paint is dry, I just remove the tape and then put in my trim pieces. These are just simple 1x3s cut at 45-degree angles at each corner to meet, and I'm going to be painting those Accessible Beige as well. I love that this toilet paper bar comes with a paper template so that you can get it like exactly right. And again, I'm just using my laser level to make sure it marks up with the lines on this template, and then you just make your marks to put your hardware in and you're good to go. With me, talking to the night until the morning, building chemistry. I don't think I ever want to go come closer next to me, trying to find another way to say. Other than the toilet itself, I feel like toilet paper is the very next step in this process, so I'm getting that up as soon as possible. And I did just want to show you one little trick that you can do, maybe in a guest bathroom or somewhere where you want to make it extra special just for a short amount of time. You can fold those ends over, which I'm sure you've seen before, but also if you just turn on your faucet for a moment, turn it back off, you can use that faucet as kind of like a little stamp, kind of like you would do with wax, just to make a little seal on it. It pushes it together, and when that dries, it looks just like a little wax seal on your toilet paper. So that's just a little tip for fun. As far as artwork for this room, I put a lot of thought into it, and I decided that I would go with something with an oversized matting so that there's lots of negative space against that busier style wallpaper. I I ended up finding these two prints which went together really well. I found the digital files online and bought those, downloaded them, and had them printed off somewhere locally, and I think that they're going to work perfectly against that wallpaper. So on the back side of these two frames, what I've done is just use some painter's tape and put a mark where each nail should go, and then also marked the center, and I've just gone ahead and placed them pretty much exactly how far apart I'm going to want to hang them. That way I can take this tape off and use that on the wall. I love using my laser level for projects. It just makes everything more professional and precise. Now to start styling this tiny little room. Obviously I can't fit but so much decor in here, but I am going to use this sweet little stool that I picked up a few weeks ago. You may have seen it if you've been on the channel. I'm also using this little vase that I did a DIY treatment to a long time ago, as well as a Japanese maple stem that came off of the faux tree that's actually in our living room. If you didn't watch the living room makeover from last week's video, go and check it out. I'm also installing this little trash can that I think is the perfect touch for such a small space. It's easy to use, it's functional, and it still looks pretty even beside the toilet. I also picked out this beautiful basket, which is also from Wayfair. It's lovely because it's waterproof, it's just the right size and made specifically to hold toilet paper rolls, so it holds 6 rolls evenly, and it's narrow so you can slide it right down beside your toilet. It looks nice and is very practical at the same time. And now, just for a little touch that smells good, I'm using this reed diffuser, which I'm putting on the back of the toilet because I really don't want to install any shelves in this room and kind of clutter up the walls more. I just used some double-sided Velcro to keep that in place. Now let's just revisit what we had before, which was a very plain and uninspired toilet room with just a toilet. It did have nice new floors, granted, but nothing else going on for it. Popcorn ceiling and lots of changes needed. And let's take a look at what it looks like now. So let me know in the comments how you think this room transformation turned out. I know that I'm really pleased with the way the room looks now. It's definitely not just a boring white box anymore, and I think that that wallpaper is definitely the star of the show. A small room like this, like a powder room or a toilet room, would be a great space to try out some bolder wallpaper if you haven't incorporated that into your home yet, or if you've been wanting to try it out but feel a little bit nervous like I felt. That might be a great place to try it. Thank you again to Wayfair for sponsoring this video so that I could show you the beautiful wallpaper as well as the beautiful basket and more in this room transformation. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please leave me a comment letting me know what you enjoyed and hit the like button before you go. I hope that everyone watching has a fantastic week, and I'll see you at the next video.